We're young as hell. I remember I was talking to, because I had a good weekend. I told you I went to go look at the spot for my show. And I was talking to these people. And the conversation went aside from business and booking the spot. They were the owners of the spot.
Yeah.
And they were pretty much just like admiring really what I was saying. Like, not to be arrogant, you know what I mean? But they're just like admiring the way I was talking and stuff. They thought I was like 28 or 29. I was like, no, like I just turned 22. They were like, what? I was like, yeah, I just turned 22. They're like, oh my gosh, like you're a baby. But bottom line, I just put that out there to say like, yeah, we're talking like this, but we haven't experienced shit. You know what I mean? Like I'm wise enough to acknowledge that I don't know anything. Yeah. For real. So if anybody has any feedback, like I'm not above like hearing what everybody has to say, whoever it is, even if you're a man too, like speak on it, but don't come with that whack shit just talking about, you know, exactly what we're talking about, not doing. You know what I mean? Like don't be ignorant. Like, yeah.
Come for a conversation, for understanding, to open and willing to learn.
Because that's the point, bro. Like we have to be progressive. That's the point. Like that's what I wanted to get into too. Like just reiterating the motivation behind this podcast. You know what I mean? Like I wanted to get into that too. And I know we said it on episode 1, we said it on episode 2, but I think it's so important to make that crystal clear. You know what I mean? Like the fact that just like we're not just here for attention. You know what I mean? Like that's not what this is about. This is not for everybody to just listen to us and then, you know, like it and say, oh, good job, Malcolm. Good job, David. You know, that was dope. Like, no, that's not what this is for. We really want to make real change. Like, this is about progression, you know, and it's something that, like I said, it's way bigger than ourselves, bro. Like, for real, like opening up that conversation, and especially for young people, that's my main focus is for young people, because if we start moving a certain way, this is going to affect the trajectory of their lives.
It's going to become the norm too.
Exactly. It's going to become the norm. So that's why I say I'm so scared about just like how social media is acting and like desensitizing us, bro. Like for real. Like because these things we're able to talk about because we can decipher from the differences, you know what I mean? Like what it's supposed to be like and what it's not. But kids coming up in a time where all of this behavior is what's prevalent, then they think that shit is normal. And that is so important that we change, bro. It's so important that we just like, just start literally changing human behaviors, because we're going down the deep end. Like this shit is dangerous. Like whether people believe it or not, like it is, bro. It is, and like it's honestly, I think our life's mission for real to make sure that does not happen, for real, to make sure that does not happen, and that people are heard. And that there is understanding. Like when we say perspective and understanding, we really mean like, don't just listen to us, interpret us. You know what I mean? Like have your own thoughts, because we're trying to figure this shit out and be progressive. Like it's not just about coming here, listening and walk away. It's way bigger than this. Like it's so important to have your own perspective. Because then too, I've even noticed like from our conversations, bro, like I don't have the same understanding going in as when I do coming away from our conversations. You know what I mean? Like for real, like I may say something that'll spark something within you, that'll then spark something within me. And then we start to gain, you know what I mean? That's when we start to gain understanding. Yeah. But that's why it's so important. That's why communication and conversation is so important, because we can get places that we wouldn't have got if we would have never talked.
Power of it.
So this shit is way bigger than us. I just wanted to reiterate that, like our motivation behind this, like this is not just a podcast. You know what I mean? This is not just a podcast. We're not just trying to get followers. We don't give a fuck about attention. That's a buy factor. You know what I mean? And we care about it in sense of the amount of people that we affect and the amount of people that are influenced. But in terms of attention, that shit is air. You know what I mean? Like it's not about that. Like I wanted to play too, bro. Like when we were talking to Jordan, I didn't even let you hear the shit yet.
Oh yeah.
When we were talking I just put a nigga name out.
Yeah, slipped out. That's how, bro.
I got passionate.
That's how conversational this is. That's how conversational this is, bro.
I got passionate.
Forget the cameras.
I tell you, I forgot where I was at.
Damn.
All right. It's okay. Leave it in there. You don't care. You don't care. Yeah, they don't know. That's a popular name.
Yeah, facts.
Yeah, no, but I'll want to give some context, because I feel like I was talking too much. Give some context behind like what this is. Like,
I feel like you'd be better at the context. I just wanted to add in though, you know, I'm big on awareness.
Mm-hmm.
That was my whole thing in the podcast too. Is kind of like bringing awareness, and it's like solutions. It's like not just talking to talk. I've never been that kind of person. I'm not just talking to hear my voice.
Yeah.
Because that's the other thing I realized too. Like you were saying, attention. It's like it's a lot of people that just want to be famous to just say they're famous.
Yeah.
They don't have any message to send. They don't have anything positive, anything progressive. They literally just want people looking at them, knowing what they're doing for the sake of it.
Mm-hmm.
And like for me, that shit is unimportant.
Yeah.
And that's the problem though. That's so many people are chasing that.
Mm-hmm.
That air, like you're talking about. It's literally there's no substance in that. There's nothing. Like I'm talking because I want awareness.
Mm-hmm.
And that was my biggest thing too. It was like it's like access, kind of being around. It's just like I don't know, because I've always felt like why isn't more information spread? Like it's something I really thought about. Like something like ignorance, I feel like is something that should be able to be eradicated. And I'm not saying this podcast is gonna eradicate ignorance, but it's like that's the direction I'm trying to move. Like
for sure.
The more I learn, the more I realize, I'm trying to share that information.
Exactly.
If I figure out something before someone else, I'm trying to illuminate the path for them too.
Mm-hmm.
Same way, hopefully somebody older than me does the same for me,
Mm-hmm.
or and people in the past have done, where it's like you need that.
Mm-hmm.
And like that's kind of what I'm achieving. That's why I'm trying to learn as much as possible, and being willing and humble and realize that I don't know everything.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know a lot.
Exactly.
You know, I feel like I have experienced a lot. I've had a lot of unique experiences in my life, but it's like it's just my experience.
Yeah.
You know, there's value and lots of value in hearing from everyone's experiences.
Mm-hmm.
And like that's what's important. That's also what I'm trying to get people more comfortable speaking on.
Yeah.
Because it's something I know I wasn't very comfortable speaking on for various reasons, because it's like a lot of time, like I'm saying, like I continue to say, it's like because I don't feel heard. I'm speaking on things, but it's like people are asking me stuff they don't really care about.
Yeah.
Or people are like asking me stuff just like they don't really care. And so like now I'm trying to get in a space where it's like it's normal to be genuine. It's normal to really care about like what people are doing, and not take out the jealousy, take out the animosity. You know, it's like just genuinely be happy for someone.
Mm-hmm.
Listen to what they're doing, like what they're passionate about, what they care about,
Mm-hmm.
and like sparking conversation. That was my biggest thing going into this. It's just because like you're saying, it's people that go 22 years, people that go even longer than that without having anybody they could really connect to outside of their family.
Yeah.
And even then, it's a disconnect too. Just and not like such a bad thing, but just a natural thing, like a generational thing between parents and kids.
Mm-hmm.
You can be super close to your parent, but like they still grew up in a different world than you did.
Yeah.
And so it's like they can relate and try to relate as much as they can, but it's like there's only so much, you know? It's like your peers, and it's like people that are similar in age with you. That's who really has an effect and influences you. And so like that's who I'm trying to reach out to.
Yeah. And we will. I honestly believe we will. That's where my faith comes in, bro. Because it's like, remember, like, even how, I know this is repetitive. This is probably in a past podcast, but the conversation of hype and numbers and normalization, you know what I mean? That's how I look at it. Like, if we can somehow make this normal, you know, that's the goal. It's just to take a turn from what's normal now and make a new thing normal.
A new normal.
You know, exactly. Like create a new normal, but it's a healthier normal.
Facts.
You know what I mean? A normal where there's a lot less
progressive normal.
Exactly, a progressive normal, a lot less bottled up feelings inside, which in turn is a lot less anxieties, which in turn is better mental health, which in turn it helps so many
better
things.
Interactions, so,
better
you know,
interactions, better communication. You know, when you were talking, bro, I just thought of some shit. I'm acting like we're famous already or some shit. I just thought of a challenge. Like that's where I'm at with
it out.
I'm about to talk about shit, bro. I just thought of a challenge because I look at social media, because, you know, I'm still on social media. There's a lot of bullshit challenges that come out. A lot of it's fun. You know, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not a hermit. Like, niggas be going like this and shit. Like, that's
driving their car.
Niggas all around the fucking world just going like this. You know what I mean? Like, it's cool. It's fun. But, like, I just thought of a challenge of substance. And I challenge anybody listening to this. And I want this to blow up, too. Like, I want it to, like, circulate around as far as I can get it. And I'm going to edit this at the end, and I'm going to make it a clip so it's specifically this part so everybody can hear this shit. I challenge everybody listening to this to go out with your friends, right? For one day, do not go on social media the whole time you're with them. I don't care what it is.
No
do
post,
nothing. No post, no nothing. Don't check it, nothing.
Yeah.
Don't even look at it. Just go. Don't be on social media. Be present in the moment with your friends, because that's something that I practice every time I'm with my friends. I don't know if my friends even notice, but I don't go on my phone at all. You know what I mean? Unless it's like a phone call Or if it beeps, you know, I'll look at it because, you know, you get the little post shit so you can see like, oh, it's Instagram, oh, it's Snapchat, whatever it is.
Yeah.
You know, you realize if it's important or not. But I challenge everybody listening to this, just take one day, and wherever you go, whatever you do, don't check your phone. Just live in the present moment the whole time, and enjoy the company of whoever you're with.
That's a good challenge.
See what the fuck happens. You know what I mean?
challenge.
Try to talk about something. Ask them how their day was.
See, and that's where conversation comes up though, because it's like in that dead space where people would now just jump on a phone, and instead of that, okay, now use that time to reflect on something deeper. That's all that is. That's all that moment is. It's like waiting for something, and it's like the phone is the cop out. It allows people to not do that.
That's exactly what it is. Bro, one time I had a chemistry professor, and this was so dope to me. This really kind of impacted my thinking. Like this really played a factor in how I view social media and how often we're on it and stuff. Pretty much he had said I get my water real quick. He pretty much just said when he would ask a question, he would lecture and he would be like, okay, is there any questions? Bro would wait for 45 seconds after he asked the question. He wouldn't do anything else or say anything else, right? So he would be like, okay, are there any questions? It's quiet for 45 seconds. You know what I mean? That type of thing. Once you get to about 30, 35 seconds, bro, every fucking time somebody raised their hand and asked a question. When you got, literally, it would take 30 seconds of silence to get to it, though. But somebody would ask a question. So I don't know the cognitive research behind it or the exact numbers, but he did it for a reason. You know, it was intentional.
And it worked.
And yeah, exactly. And sure enough, every time, 30, 35 seconds, somebody would fucking answer. So imagine what you're doing when you're talking to somebody and there's 5 seconds of silence and then you got to be
exactly.
You know what I mean? Because you feel uncomfortable in that dead space. You never talk about anything.
You avoid it.
Exactly. You never talk about anything. Nobody ever gets anything out. So, yeah, man, that's the challenge. But I wanted to play this clip. You hearing this for the first time too.
Okay.
About this is a commercial, low key, bro. I'm gonna put it up, but this is real.
The day too. It was a good conversation.
Yeah, no, it was a really dope conversation. I'm gonna put it in the mic. This is pretty much just, bro knew I was recording, but didn't know at the same time. You know, because we talked for an hour and a half, long time. Forgot we were recording, but he said this, and I just want to put this out as a sentiment to what this is. You know what I mean? So that's what he had to say.
Now I have a better understanding of a lot of things, and I'm glad. I'm still learning now every day. So,
dude, we're gonna learn until the day we die, bro. For real.
Man, even just being here talking with you guys, this is I like this. I like the energy in here. I like talking about these things you can't talk about with everybody else.
Yeah, man, that's the point.
Yeah, that's social class, man.
That's the point, bro. This is real. It's not fake.
For real.
This isn't just to get fucking as many listeners as we can. That's not really what it's about.
Yeah.
You know, it's about genuinely affecting people.
You guys are doing something really great. I have never seen one podcast ever touch on mental health, bro.
Yeah.
As strong as you guys are right now.
Yeah.
Mental health is so important.
But that's how bro felt from when we were talking. So
That's
I just say that to say, like, this is the reaction that I'm getting from people that I'm talking to on the streets, too. You know what I mean? So this is important. You know what I mean? This is evident. Like, it's very important that we get these messages out, and even us just simply having a conversation, because it's not what's normal. Yeah. For real. Like, and that's what kind of took me back from, like I said, when I was talking to those people, and they thought I was like 28, 29, because I realized, because as a matter of fact, this is exactly what the dude said. Once again, this is not my ego talking. I'm just telling you, like, what it was. He was like, bro, you're not an average 22-year-old. And that was weird for me to hear him say that, because I'm just speaking my mind. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, like, I'm not trying to be, you know what I mean? But that's an ode to the fact that speaking your mind is different.
It's rare.
You know what I mean? That's rare. And that shouldn't be, it should be normal. All of us should be talking. You know what I mean? All of us should be willing to share our opinions. You know what I mean? And it's just needs to be normalized, man. And I'm hoping, like, in turn, like we've talked about, like, we're going to get guests on here, you know, to hear other people's perspectives, because we realize that, in a sense, like, it's biased. You know what I mean? Like, we can acknowledge that. Like, we're both two black men. We have our own experiences. other people. We need women involved. We need other races involved. We need to hear other people's perspectives too,
Facts.
and we're receptive to it. You know what I mean? But man, social class, bro, this shit runs deep.
For real.
There's something out. You got something else to say?
Yeah, bro.
I don't even know how long we've been talking.
Me neither. But what you hit on is just vulnerability. It's like open conversations without judgment, because it's like the way we're talking. It's like there's no, bro. You can literally say whatever.
Yeah.
And my first reaction is not going to be judgment. It's going to be
Yeah.
try to understand. Okay, where's that coming from?
Yeah.
You know, and like that's something where it's like people gotta try to get into that more. Where it's like most of the time the first thing they're gonna do is like judgment. Oh, that was stupid. He's an idiot. You know what I'm saying? This failing to realize like, and it's because it's crazy. This concept is like can be applied. So many different layers. People in prison. All people in prison are bad people.
Mm-hmm.
Don't take any. You know, you don't take into account any of the context, any of the environment, any of the other stuff. It's like you just like people are so quick to put blanket judgments over people.
Yeah.
And like the solution to that is conversations.
Mm-hmm.
When you talk to people, then it's like from their perspective, kind of where they're coming from, how they're feeling, and like that's the. And then in those open conversations, it's gonna be vulnerable, but that's what's important. But it's like I get why people aren't, because it's like the norm is like that's gonna get taken advantage of.
Yeah.
If I tell you my weakness, what's like the first thing
Yeah.
people are gonna do is use
Yeah,
that
you
against
wanna
me.
use
So
that
it's like people are
weakness
like,
against
I'm gonna hide my weaknesses. I'm gonna put up my strongest attributes, Instagram, you know, and it's like and just run with that and avoid and ignore the rest. But it's like I'm just trying to get to a point where everybody get comfortable talking about vulnerabilities, emotions, especially men, all this type of stuff where it's like it's necessary. The time is now. We gotta stop running. It's the same thing about race and racism. Like a lot of things need to be addressed, need to start getting talked about, and it's
we
like
gotta stop acting like we aren't different races.
Yeah.
For real, like acting like racism doesn't exist. It's the same thing like how you talk about problems. It's like ignoring your problem just makes you ignorant to the fact that they're there.
It's
They
not
don't
gonna make it go away. Exactly.
Like,
nah.
why are we trying to ignore these things and act like they aren't real?
It's
No, we have to address them.
And that's the thing that people fail to realize, that I realized the hard way. Emotional wounds take much longer to heal than physical wounds. Much hard, but it's
Years.
crazy. People don't see it like that. People would much rather. I feel like maybe some people unconsciously see it like that, and they know like the damage that emotional wounds, but like they don't want to outwardly admit that. They kind of just like, cause like, man, like emotional wounds, like if you don't take the time to really fix them, like they're gonna persist. Like it's not gonna go away.
Yeah.
It's only gonna create more and more problems.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like essentially what's been happening.
Yeah. I just feel like just how you spoke on kind of like if people know your weaknesses, you know what I mean, then what are they going to do? Like the way that I look at it is just like, I got this from Charlemagne the God. All right. These aren't my words. He just pretty much talks about like living in your truth. You know what I mean? And if you live in your truth, then it can't be used against you. And that's how I feel. You know, that's how I try to live my life. Like as long as I'm honest, you know what I mean? And I just upfront about the things that are going on, it's like, yeah, like I put it out. You know what I mean? So it's like I have control of the narrative. You know what I mean? I can't control how somebody perceives it, but it's like if I do wrong and then I come out before anybody else says anything about it, and I'm just like, you know, my bad. You know, I fucked up. Yeah. You know what I mean? Straight up. And I hold myself accountable for something. It's like, what the fuck is somebody going to say?
But how rare is that? It's usually the opposite. Most time people are going to wait until they get caught. Then, I'm so sorry this happened. Yeah. You know, but it's like, and like that goes back to like the acknowledgement and the recognition, how it's like that's something that you possess, which is very key and valuable that a lot of people don't. The ability to admit when you're wrong. The ability, and that's something that's tied right back into the men, where it's like not being able to admit, oh, I fucked up, I made a mistake, I had a misjudgment. So many people struggle with that because, and it goes back to the vulnerability. So it's like, okay, I make a mistake. Now it's like next time I want to do something, that's what people are going to point to. Oh, your mistakes. Like, oh, where you fucked up, where you did wrong. And that's what people are afraid of. But it's like, you got to embrace, that's part of it. That's part of the process. That's part of the journey. That's part of all of it. Yeah. You got to embrace that. But if you act like you can never make any mistakes or you never do anything wrong, there's no growth.
Everybody fucks up though. That's why I don't see like it's a big deal.
But it's like, and it goes back to the process, and like everybody only appreciates the destination. Yeah. So it's like if you're the person that's saying I fucked up, people are like, I don't, like they use that against you almost. They're like, I care about the person who made it seem like they didn't fuck up at all and made it to the top. But it's like that's nobody.
Yeah, because that's flawless.
Like, no, that's nobody. You know, it's an image they're putting out. Man, like. the awareness. That's
Yeah.
really,
Yeah.
cause like that's the thing too. I don't like the word woke.
I don't either.
I don't
hate that
you know
word.
exactly cause
Stop using the word woke.
yeah, I feel like it gets so distorted and
Yeah.
It's like it's crazy cause like
People
woke
is fake woke.
exactly woke almost reminds me of like I just thought this the other day, bro. Religion literally is just like people's. This is my interpretation of it, obviously, and it's gonna sound cynical, but like religion really is just people's rationalization to do bad. You know,
Yeah.
like